Hello.
Hey.
Hi.
He got a fucking fucking.
Hello.
Oh my god.
Hi.
I can't get over your character, dude. It's so fucking cute. I was thinking about getting a Pichu. Hey.
I couldn't find one. It was quite depressing.
Is that a Gaho?
Really?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. I mean, only short people see it really good though, so I'm sorry.
No, we got Tracer.
Oh,
He's got Tracer, but do you have Sombra though?
He got everything. He's
Oh, that's about it. Yeah.
Maybe later, I guess.
Is that guy fucking...
Yep, pull the trigger, fucking take
You
the
can shoot
safety
him?
off. No, don't
Or you can shoot
yourself,
me.
shoot on a weave.
Oh no, no, no!
No,
Wait,
shoot
but
the lolly from yourself, dude.
wait, no, that's from Square Enix. Everything from Square Enix is usually anime related.
No, Square Enix is not Wii. There's no lollies in Square
Have you
Enix.
seen the fucking...
Listen. I agree it's
Final
weeby,
Fantasy?
but it's not creepy. Lollies
Oh,
are
heck
just
yeah, man.
fucking creepy, dude.
Yes.
No,
Oh,
actually,
well.
it's really the people that think that it's cute. It's really what you...
Guess it went right through me.
Yeah, okay,
Lollies
the
are
people who
pretty
think it's
much
cute are
children.
creepy. Yeah, okay, yeah,
Now
I
we're
see
on the
what
right
you
track.
mean. Yeah, I get it, I get it.
It's just fucking little girl hands you tomato and you're like, oh.
Year-old girl that isn't
The fuck
real
is
and
this?
is dressed like a...
Who's that guy?
Are you? Okay.
Don't on me.
Because like some people they go like.
Look at Bunny, right?
Okay.
That doesn't even look like a human, dude.
You
I
can't
have
be
never
serious.
seen
So you're saying that you're only fucking humans.
To be honest.
What about goats?
Irish model is
Oh, it's
exactly the same.
I know, what about goats?
What about
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you tell us. What about goats?
To blow something.
Yeah, right. They're nice. They're good. You know,
Yeah,
they're tight.
Ready to blow something
I wouldn't go bang a goat, though. Would you bang a goat? You tell me you did.
Of course, I would bang a goat. I would bang a goat.
I mean, like, duh.
It's part of a...
I mean,
Damn,
only if
that's
he
my bad,
wanted
guys.
as well. Only if he
yeah,
wanted
yeah.
as well. I wouldn't
Yeah,
break
that's
him.
How are you gonna find that out? They can't really talk.
Okay, we gotta get out of here. This is going too far.
God damn, bro, shut the fuck up, bro. Hot ass breath.
Keep going.
The remix.
That was a great performance, man.
That was amazing. Wow.
I think that was supposed to be a poem.
The way he sits down. That was easy. That was
That was really close.
Wait, that's the wrong
I agree. That's a good point.
Definitely.
That's the wrong
I
answer.
agree.
I couldn't agree more.
What is our next plan, Senator Horse?
He's pointing a gun at you.
What is our next plan?
Her?
From the regions of the
What about her? She betrayed the horse cause?
There's more to life.
That's correct. What do we do?
Such a precious little boy you are.
Do we need to sacrifice the children again?
Oh, he really likes that one. He really wants
I agree.
to sacrifice the
Okay,
children.
alright.
Well, let's get to it. Come on.
How do you get it like?
There's children to be sacrificed.
Let's get to it.
Okay.
Like this one.
I do have Oculus, but I
So we should probably tell them why we're here first before we just intrude in their
Alright.
conversation.
Almost.
So our horse lord told us to come and sacrifice you for the cause.
For the kids to do.
today.
Yeah,
He's
see,
really, really
he said.
excited about it.
You get a headache as well.
Now this can go one of two ways. You can sacrifice yourself,
Oh my god.
or this is way number two. We could sacrifice you.
Oh god, not again.
Oh no. Has powers. Back up.
Where are you? Like,
Run away.
Yo, God is coming. God is coming. God is coming.
oh my god, I hate you. Wow.
Hey, you two, break it up. Break it up.
Panicking.
Break it up. Break it up. No.
You guys just.
Together, commanded the nurse.
Oh yeah,
Stay
that
here.
explains a lot.
The old man announced suddenly. If you think I'm going to walk home in this blanket, you're entirely mistaken.
Knuckles?
Always have blankets.
Are you okay, Knuckles?
Cackle, the old man held up a small, white swaddling garment.
Right there.
Look, this is what they had ready for me. Babies always wear these, said the nurse primly. Well,
The fuck is this Knuckles doing?
baby not gonna wear
Hey man, just follow the Knuckles. Just listen to the story.
They might have
Alright.
given me a sheet,
I don't know what he's doing. He doesn't respond.
said Mr. Button hurriedly.
I don't get it, Rizzo.
What'll I do? Go downtown and buy your some drugs. Mr. Button's
so
son
weird.
followed him down the hall. And a cane, father. I want to have a cane. Mr. Button banged the outer door savagely. Chapter 2. Good morning, Mr. Button said nervously to the clerk in the Chesapeake Dry Goods Company. I want to buy some clothes for my child. How old is your child, sir? About 6 hours, answered Mr. Button with due consideration. Baby supply department in the rear. I'm not sure that's what I want. He's an unusually large-sized child. Exceptionally large. They have the largest children's sizes. Where's the boys' department? Inquired Mr. Button, shifting his ground desperately. He felt that the clerk must surely scent his shameful secret. Right here? Well, he hesitated. The notion of dressing his son in men's clothes was
Okay, Dennis,
say
okay.
he could
Yeah, now it's personal.
boy's suit. He might cut off the long and awful beard.
Okay, right, this is what I see. I still need to
Managed to conceal the
Oh,
words.
what?
And
Just listen. Just listen and follow, okay?
Not to mention his position in Baltimore society. But a planning inspection of the boys' department reveals no suits to fit the newborn Button.
It's just
He
jumping.
blamed the store, of course. In such cases, it is the thing to blame the store. Boy of yours was? Seriously?
Exactly.
He's 16. Oh, I beg your pardon. I thought you said 6 hours. You'll find the youth department in the next aisle. Mr. Button turned miserably away. Then he stopped, brightened, and pointed his finger toward a dress dummy in the window display. There, he exclaimed. I'll take that suit. I'll don the dummy. The clerk stared. Why, he protested. That's not a child's suit. At least it is. But it's for fancy dress. You could wear it yourself. Wrap it up, insisted his customer nervously. That's what I want. The astonished clerk obeyed. Back at the hospital, Mr. Button entered the nursery and almost threw the package at his son. Here are clothes, he snapped out. The old man untied the package and viewed its contents with a quizzical eye. It looks sort of funny to me, he complained. I don't want to be made a monkey of. You made a monkey of me, retorted Mr. Button fiercely.
God damn it, I won't let me friend
Never
him.
mind how funny you look. Put them on, or I'll spank you. He swallowed uneasily at the penultimate word, feeling nervously that it was the proper thing to say.
It's weird.
All right, Father. This was a grotesque simulation of final respect. You've lived longer, you know best, just as you say. As before, the sound of word father caused Mr. Button to start violently. And hurry. I'm hurrying, Father. When his son was dressed, Mr. Button regarded him with depression. The costume consisted of dotted socks, pink pants, and a belted blouse, with a wide white collar. Over the latter waved the long white beard, drooping almost to the waist. The effect was not good. Wait. Mr. Button seized a hospital shears, and with 3 quick snips, amputated a large section of the beard. But even with this improvement, the ensemble fell far short of perfection. The remaining blood, scraggly hair, the watery eyes, the ancient teeth, seemed oddly out of tone with the gaiety of the costume. Mr. Button, however, was obdurate. He held out his hand. Come along, he said sternly. His son took the hand trustingly. When are you going to call me, Dad? He quavered as they walked from the nursery. Just Baby for a while. Do you think of a better name? Mr. Button grunted. I don't know, he answered harshly. Think we'll call you Methuselah. Chapter 3. Even after the new addition to the Button family had his hair cut short, and then dyed to a sparse, unnatural black, had his face shaved so close that it glistened, and had been attired in small boy clothes made to order by a flabbergasted tailor, it was impossible for Button to ignore the fact that his son was an excuse for a first family baby. Despite his aged stoop, Benjamin Button, for that was his name they called him instead of by the appropriate but individuous Methuselah, was 5 feet 8 inches tall. His clothes did not conceal this, nor did the clipping and dyeing of his eyebrows disguise the fact that the eyes under were faded and watery and tired. In fact, the baby nurse who had been engaged in advance left the house after one look in a state of considerable indignation. But Mr. Button persisted in his unwavering purpose. Benjamin was a baby, and a baby he should remain. At first he declared that if Benjamin didn't like warm milk, he could go without food altogether, but he was finally prevailed upon to allow his son bread and water, and even oatmeal by way of compromise. One day he brought home a rattle, and giving it to Benjamin, insisted in no uncertain terms that he should play with it, whereupon the old man took it with a weary expression, and could be heard jingling it obediently at intervals throughout the day. There can be no doubt, though, that the rattle bored him, and that he found other more soothing amusements when he was left alone. For instance, Mr. Button discovered one day that during the preceding week he had smoked more cigars than ever before, a phenomenon which was explained a few days later when, entering the nursery unexpectedly, he found the room full of a faint blue haze, and Benjamin, with a guilty expression on his face, trying to conceal the butt of a dark Havana. This, of course, called for a severe spanking, but Mr. Button found that he could not bring himself to administer it. He merely warned his son that he would stunt his growth. Nevertheless, he persisted in his attitude. He brought home lead soldiers, he brought home toy trains, he brought large pleasant animals made of cotton. And to perfect the illusion which he was creating, for himself at least, he passionately demanded of the clerk in a toy store whether the paint would come off the pink duck if the baby put it in his mouth. But despite all his father's efforts, Benjamin refused to be arrested. He would steal down the back stairs and return to the nursery with a volume of the Encyclopedia Britannica, over which he would pore through an afternoon, while his cotton cows and his Noah's Ark were left neglected on the floor. Against such a stubbornness, Mr. Button's efforts were of little avail. The sensation created in Baltimore was at first prodigious. What the mishap would have cost the Buttons and their kinfolk socially cannot be determined, for the outbreak of the Civil War brought the city's attention to other things. A few people who were unfailingly polite racked their brains for compliments to give to the parents, and finally hit upon the ingenious device of declaring that the baby resembled his grandfather. A fact which, due to the standard state of decay common to all men of 70, could not be denied. Mr. and Mrs. Roger Button were not pleased, but Benjamin's grandfather was curiously insulted. Benjamin, once he left the hospital, took life as he found it. Several small boys were brought to see him, and he spent a stiff-jointed afternoon trying to work up an interest in tops and marbles. He even managed, quite accidentally, to break a kitchen window with the stone from a slingshot, a feat which secretly delighted his father. Thereafter, Benjamin contrived to break something every day, but he did these things only because they were expected of him and because he was by nature obliging. When his grandfather's initial antagonism wore off, Benjamin and that gentleman took enormous pleasure in one another's company. They would sit for hours, these two, so far apart in age and experience, and like old cronies, discuss with tireless monotony the slow events of the day. Benjamin felt more at ease in his grandfather's presence than in his parents'. They seemed always somewhat in awe of him, and despite the and exercised over him, frequently addressed him as Mr. He was as puzzled as anyone else at the apparently advanced age of his mind and body at birth. He read up on a medical journal, but found that no such case had been previously recorded. At his father's urging, he made honest attempts to play with other boys, and frequently he joined in milder games. Football shook him up too much. He feared that in case of a fracture, his ancient bones would refuse to knit. When he was 5, he was sent to kindergarten, where he initiated into the art of pasting green paper on orange paper, of weaving colored maps, and manufacturing eternal cardboard necklaces. He was inclined to drowse off to sleep in the middle of these tasks, a habit which both irritated and frightened his young teacher. To his relief, she complained to his parents, and he was removed from the school. The Roger Buttons told their friends that they felt he was too young. By the time he was 12 years old, his parents had grown used to him.
here, on your
Indeed,
right side.
so strong is the force of custom that they no longer felt that he was different from any other child.
No, I want a bottle, not like a glass.
Reminded them of the fact. One day, a few weeks after his 12th birthday, while looking in the mirror, Benjamin made, or thought he made, an astonishing discovery. Was I deceiving, or had his hair turned in the dozen years of his life from white to iron gray under its concealing dye? Was the network of wrinkles on his face becoming less pronounced? Was his skin healthier and firmer? Even a touch of ruddy winter crawler. He could not tell. He knew that he no longer stooped, and that his physical condition had improved since the early days of his life.
This is really relaxing.
This is nice. This is nice.
He dared to think. To his father. I'm grown, he announced determinedly. I want to put on long trousers.
Now you're fired. Get out.
Father hesitated. Well, he said finally, I don't know. 14 is the age for putting on long trousers, and you are only 12. But you have to admit, protested Benjamin, I'm big for my age.
8895.
The father looked at him with illusory speculation. I'm not so sure of that, he said. I was as big as you when I was 12. This was not true. It was all part of Roger Button's silent agreement with himself to believe in his son's normality. Finally, a compromise was reached. Benjamin was to continue to dye his hair. He was to make a better attempt to play with boys of his own age. He was not to wear spectacles or carry a cane in the street. In return for these concessions, he was allowed his first suit of long trousers.
Okay.
It's not working.
Chapter 4. Of the life of Benjamin
Alright, dude,
between
preach.
his 12th and
Preach that
21st
shit.
year, I intend to say little. Suffice to record that they were years of normal.
This guy definitely just went AFK and like
Benjamin was 18,
he's just gone. He's like taking a dump or something.
He had more hair, and it was a pathetic.
Oh no, he's not. He's looking me right in the. Oh, that was scary. Okay. Sorry. I'm sorry.
And descended to a healthy baritone. His father sent him up to Connecticut to take examinations for entrance to Yale College.
Holy shit, that scared me.
Benjamin passed his examinations and became a member of the freshman class. On the third day following his graduation, he received a notification from Mr. Hart, the college registrar, to call at his office and arrange his schedule. Benjamin, glancing in the mirror, decided that his hair needed a new application of its brown dye. But an anxious inspection of his bureau drawer disclosed that the dye bottle was not there. Then he remembered. He had emptied it the day before and thrown it away. He was in a dilemma. He was due at the registrar's in 5 minutes. There seemed to be no help for it. He must go as he was. He did. Good morning, said the registrar politely. You've come to inquire about your son. Why, as a matter of fact, my name's Button, began Benjamin, but Mr. Hart cut him off. Very glad to meet you, Mr. Button. I'm expecting your son here any minute.
Security
That's me, burst out Benjamin. I'm a freshman. What? I'm a freshman.
No.
Surely you're joking.
No animals.
Not at all. The registrar frowned, glanced at the card before him. I have Mr. Benjamin Button's age down as 18.
0.0.
That's my age, asserted Benjamin, flushing slightly. The registrar eyed him wearily. Now, surely, Mr. Button, you don't expect
come on,
me
Benjamin
to believe
Button.
that.
Come on.
Benjamin smiled wearily. I'm 18, he repeated. The register pointed sternly at the door. Get out, he said. Get out of college and get out of town. You are a dangerous lunatic. I'm 18. Mr. Hart opened the door. The idea, he shouted. A man of your age trying to enter here as a freshman. 18 years old, are you? Well, I'll give you 18 minutes to get out of town. Benjamin Button walked with dignity from the room, and half a dozen undergraduates who were waiting in the hall followed him curiously with their eyes. When he had gone a little way, he turned around, faced the infuriated registrar, who was still standing in the door, and repeated in a firm voice, I am 18 years old. To a chorus of titters which went up from the group of undergraduates, Benjamin walked away. But he was not fated to escape so easily. On his melancholy walk to the railroad station, he found that he was being followed by a group, then by a swarm, and finally by a dense mass of undergraduates. The word had gone around that a lunatic had passed the entrance examinations for Yale and attempted to palm himself off as a youth of 18. A fever of excitement permeated the college. Men ran hatless out of classes. The football team abandoned its practice and joined the mob. Professors' wives with
What is happening?
No, yeah, what the heck? You can't leave us hanging like this. What is this?
Don't stop.
What did the mob do?
Come on.
Come on.
Well, it was nice while it lasted.
Oh man.
No, it'll continue.
I've got to read the rest of that book now. That's the Curious Case of Benjamin Button. That's a very
What does your back say?
This is the way.
This is the way.
Oh, is that what? Oh, that is okay. I see. Yeah, my angle. Okay. Maybe he's loading up the. I don't know.
He did.
What
I
happened?
tell you, he did.
I might just read it now,
I don't think he did. No.
Yeah, he did.
No way. He's alive.
This is your life now.
Chapter 5, and you got like 5 more chapters after that.
I'm not gonna lie.
It's hard.
Knuckles,
Come on,
Knuckles,
let's chat.
Knuckles.
Well, great.
Knuckles,
Now I'm gonna have to go find a
Knuckles,
fucking audiobook.
Knuckles. Okay, I'm gonna
What's
go
it like
download
being
like
the
an
most
audio
popular
book of
Knuckles
this.
in all of VRChat?
Knuckles might get shot. Knuckles.
This anime chick has a gun! Get down!